Hey, welcome back to Panic Butter. This is Tony. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Join me. So next time, you'll be right here where I am. And we'll do this again. Today, we got an update. Let's see what's happening with our time traveler in the shed. What about those vampires? Are they real? Is any of this real? That's why we're here. We're here to look at it. We're here to do it. We get the creepy and the strange. The strange and the creepy from yesterday, today, and what is possibly coming up tomorrow. What do you think? Are you ready? I am. Let's get right into it. First up, our update. Let's see what's happening. Is this time travel real? Let me know. Here we go.
We still don't believe the story about the time traveler that went into my shed, disappeared, and then came back in the future. This video in your mind. So much evidence supporting this theory. This guy named Matty Ice, he's been looking into this a lot. Funny because he actually made a skit on part 1, like making fun of me, but now he's come around to actually looking into this because this is real. So he's been looking into this story and he found some crazy evidence. Start this off, I don't support reaching out to anybody's families or anything like that. This is all speculative, but evidence kind of makes sense. So what he did is he did a reverse image search and he found this guy who looks pretty similar to our boy here. The crazy part is this guy was obsessed with time travel. And you can see 9 years ago, he used to post on blogs talking about time travel and how it works. So he graduated from Harvard University, which is, obviously impressive. So this guy knew his stuff. He was obsessed with time travel and he looks like our guy. So it's like, okay, it's probably him then, right? This guy died in 2018, 6 years ago, which, by the way, it's crazy in its own. But 6 years ago, this guy died. But he looks the same and he was obsessed with time travel. He also found this, which is family members saying they miss him and that they, love him and stuff like that in November 2018. He also found this, which is the same thing talking about his death, July of 2017. So this one also says he died in July of 2018, but then they posted in 2017. It's possible that they edited this text to, give him a shout out, how he passed away. Maybe the picture was beforehand, but still a little fishy, right? So in 2017, saying, he died in 2018, but whatever. Also found this interview note, so I guess he was interviewed and somebody took notes of the interview. And in this interview, he was talking about his obsession with sound and time travel and how everything like that works in another dimension. This is all speculative. I didn't do any of this research. This is all Matty Ice. But this is crazy because this guy looks the same. He was obsessed with time travel. He died. Somebody commented about his death a year before it happened. Mentioned that maybe the body wasn't found. I don't know how accurate that part is. But coincidences going back to this guy who looks like our time traveler. So yeah, pretty crazy. I definitely urge you not to reach out to his family. They probably don't want to talk about this. I had a family member pass away. I wouldn't want somebody calling me about this. But yeah, pretty interesting. Tag me if you guys find more info on this.
Yeah, we're interested. Coincidences? That's right up our alley, huh? We're here to look at it. We're here. We're waiting. Bring it on. Do some more research. We'll find it. We'll look at it. Then we'll decide. How's that sound? Sounds good to me. How about you? Let's see what's up next. Gonna be good. Gonna be intense. Don't watch before bed. Here we go.
Story time. Laura from the YouTube channel Laura's Kitchen regularly uploads fun videos sharing her tasty recipes and love for cooking. One night she decides to go live on YouTube along with her son Max. While telling a story about her son, something happens that shocks them both.
So we bought the dog these buttons, and they're programmed. That one says play, right? When he steps on it. So anyways, for a month, Oscar has been walking around the house saying to me, your mom is dead. And it really got me upset. It was getting me very emotional because she did pass away like 20 years ago. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, for a solid month. And then finally he stopped getting a reaction out of me. So we were at the back door and the dog had to pee. And there's a button that says pee pee by the back door. And I'm like, wow, you know, it's been quiet. Oscar has not bothered me all day. This is great. I think he's finally over this, right? So I said to the dog, hit the button. You want to go pee-pee? Hit the button. So he hits the button and it goes, your mom's dead. What the f***? What was that? So anyways, I hear in the back by the stairs, because the stairs are in the opposite direction, I hear so yeah, that's an evil story. Evil story. Oh my God. Oh, Tracy's saying hi. Oh. What else do we hear here? Is my house haunted? Is my house haunted? Why? What's up, Angie? Sorry, typing too fast to spell it right. I don't know. Sometimes I get a feeling there's something happening in my house, but I don't. Oh, yeah, it's haunted. The dog wants to go for a walk. What did she see?
I heard something in the background earlier, but
I thought I heard something. Nothing's right. Sorry, typing too fast. That's strange. The cabinet behind you just opened and closed on its own. What? Is that what that was?
Whoa!
What's that?
What the heck?
What was that?
That just flew out.
oh, what the hell?
Right as Laura is talking about her mother, a kitchen cabinet opens and closes very quickly on its own. Laura hears something, but shrugs it off and continues to tell her story. Now remember that all of this happened live on YouTube. So, in Laura's live YouTube comment feed, one of her worried viewers warns her about what just happened. Laura is confused and goes to inspect the cabinet. Then, all hell breaks loose. A week later, and Laura's back on YouTube and reflects on what happened that night.
That night, I didn't sleep a wink. Absolutely petrified. My husband came home. I didn't call him at work because I figured he would tell me I was being dramatic. And I didn't want to hear it. But anyways, small and short of it, the next morning, I went to the kitchen. I'm the first one up to get everything ready for the kids for school. And it felt normal. There was no bad feelings. It was completely peaceful. It doesn't feel like it was bad. And the more that I watched the video over, the more things kind of like, I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe it was my mom. It's just too coincidental because we were talking about my mom. We were telling the story. And as soon as I said that last line about my mom is when that started happening. And the weird thing is, if you look at all my videos since over a year and a half ago, if you notice in the kitchen, oh, you can't see it from that angle. Hold on. I keep my mom right here, and she sits underneath the cupboard that was opening up. So is it coincidence? Is it my mom? If it is, do I want to sage my house and tell her to leave? Because I don't feel weird. I don't feel creeped out or violated in my home. I feel nothing. So I'm not going to do that.
So could this be the spirit of Laura's mother trying to make contact? Let me know.
Wow, that's pretty strange, huh? That kind of makes it a lot more interesting once you see that Mom hangs out right below the cupboards. What do you think? Anything like that happening to you? Or do you want to talk about it? Because if you do talk about it, then it might start happening. You never know. What do we got next? We've all heard of vampires. Huh. Again, are they real?
Do you want to know how the CIA faked vampire attacks to take over an entire country? History is so cool. So a few months ago, I read JFK and the Unspeakable. And it made me want to learn about Operation Mongoose and the Bay of Pigs and everything that led up to the JFK assassination. So I've been going through every document possible that's been released by the CIA. And I wanted to understand everything that led up to 1962 and 1963 of the assassination. And this brought me down a rabbit hole of figuring out who Edward Lansdale was. Because not only was he involved with Operation Mongoose, he was involved with Vietnam before we were supposed to even be there. So he was in the Air Force until 1947 before getting picked up by the CIA. And even though they say he wasn't picked up until 1963, which is sus in its own way, this guy was using psychological warfare on his enemies to defeat guerrilla wars in the Philippines, specifically the Huck Rebellion in the early 1950s. Now, to give you a little backstory, right after World War II took place, the United States came into the South Asian Pacific and just started taking over all of their territory and sucking up their natural resources and land. So between 1945 and 1950, there was a rebellious group of pretty much farmers that were getting together, and they were angry at their government because they were giving everything to the United States. Even though this was started by farmers in central Luzon, there's a lot of stories and evidence that shows that the reasoning behind this was for good reasoning. They were just tired of their own farmland and foods and resources being stolen from the United States. And of course, the United States didn't like that because they wanted the Philippines. They now controlled all of the Asian South Pacific after World War II. And if you watch my other videos on the EHM strategies from Confessions of an Economic Hitman with John Perkins, you would know that the US and the CIA had been involved with multiple operations that would suppress third world countries and allow the United States to take over a lot of their natural resources as well as take over their exports and their trading routes. So of course they're going to classify this group as a Soviet group relating to the Cold War and that they are a part of the Communist Party and partnered with the Soviets. They actually have some truth to it. So in order to make the deal of a lifetime, the United States needed to do something. And that's where vampires come in.
Oh, yeah.
You see, Lansdale, specializing in psychological warfare specifically, was studying the culture of Filipinos at the time. At one point, he strapped a loudspeaker to some form of aircraft, whether it was a plane or a helicopter, and with a loudspeaker, put a curse in their own language, had a curse, someone speaking with curses saying, hey, if you do not retreat or turn yourselves in at the time, your family will be cursed for the rest of your history. And it actually worked. A lot of these guerrilla groups started starving and being forced out because the local villages did not want to help them out because they thought some blood-sucking creature or curse was going to be put onto their families for years to come. And this is where the CIA gets crazy. See, they really take out the guerrilla group's leader at the time. According to Edward Lansdale's memoir, he had the CIA leak stories to the villagers and the Hux groups that there was a blood-sucking aswang. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. Aswang, it's going to be kind of a blood-sucking creature similar to a vampire. And waited for a few days to these villages to believe that there was some creature in the mountains killing soldiers. With those rumors and everybody scared, he then sent a military operating group that would go out and kidnap a single guerrilla member that was on patrol that evening. They then would kill this soldier and take two sharp objects and inject two holes into his neck, making it look like that he had drained all of his blood. They would hang him outside, drain that blood, and then they left him on the trail to be found. So when the Hux, as superstitious as any other Filipino that was there at the time, discovered the bloodless comrade, they fled from the region. And it worked. Now, conveniently, the Philippines thanked the United States for just ridding of these rebels from their mountainsides, but that's not enough for the US. Instead of leaving, the CIA at the time, Lansdale, back to Edward Lansdale here, he had been making huge connections with Ramon Magsaysay and convinces him to run for president in the Philippines. And over his campaign running for president, him and Lansdale got really close. There's even allegations that Lansdale actually knocked out the former president at the time at one point because he wanted to write his own speech and didn't want to give a speech that the CIA had written for him. However, that's the only part that I can't find any documents that were released on that show evidence of that. Of course, every leader that is involved with the CIA, Raymond ended up passing away in a plane crash in 1957. However, of course, that took place after the United States already had him pass any laws that they needed. For example, banning any forms of the Communist Party. Now, Lansdale's story didn't end there. He then got transferred to Vietnam, like I mentioned earlier, and he would start participating in multiple operations well before the Vietnam War actually kicked off. He was a part of Operation Wandering Soul, which was a propaganda campaign and psychological warfare effort exercised by U.S. forces during the Vietnam War, and it was an attempt to increase desertions and defections from Viet Cong forces and weaken their morale. Specifically by trying to do the same tactics that they just did in the Philippines by strapping loudspeakers to, once again, a helicopter and playing ghost noises and trying to convince them that there was ghosts living in the forest to scare them out of the jungle. So you can see the influence that he ended up having on the CIA. But that brings us all the way back to 1962, where he was now the lead and in charge of the Operation Mongoose, which of course is the operation that was put into effect after the failed attempt of the Bay of Pigs invasion and ultimately led up to the assassination of JFK in 1963. Now, all of this is documented. He wrote a book on this, and it's even in his memoir that the CIA published. So if you appreciate these videos, please leave me a like, a comment, share this video, save this video, repost it. Because these people have been trying to silence me with information that is all 100% factual. I show all my sources and evidence and CIA documents that have been released on these videos. So share this with anyone that would ask themselves this one question.
Sounds pretty cool, huh? It was pretty interesting. Great idea. Sadly, that would probably still work in a lot of places around the world today. Even with the information highway that's out there. Everybody's connected. Everybody sees everything and hears everything. It's just those certain places that stay the same. And it's unlikely it will change anytime soon. For us, we move on.
The people that control this world already knew that we had stargates, we had UFOs, we had time travel. Everything we think is a myth, they know is real. But they put these little stories in cartoons so people could say it's just fantasy. Nah, this is really reality. This is a portal or stargate they found back in Egypt thousands of years ago. Do this look familiar to you? It kind of looked like the portal they made in New York City, right or wrong. UFOs and aliens, they're not the only ones that had spacecrafts. The Egyptians had spacecrafts thousands of years ago. Yes, they was traveling the universe. They knew how to make UFOs or spacecrafts like this. So many people believe these aliens came from millions of light years away. No, they still walk this planet with us every day. And they are the ones that was teaching the Vatican, Egyptians, the Germans, Hitler. They taught them all this kind of ancient technology. These people knew the ultimate goal was to travel through the sun. If you could travel through the sun, you could go anywhere in the universe. Now do it make sense why they put up a fake sun? Now do it make sense why they're trying to block the sun? The reason they're trying to block the sun is because they don't want people to see what's coming in and what's leaving from the sun. Just remember, thousands of years ago, the Egyptians made a portal just like this. And now people today is making portals just like this. So it was people on this planet that lived before us that knew about Wi-Fi, stargates, technology, time travel. If they knew this hundreds of years ago, what do we know right now? Always say it's nothing new under the sun. A lot of these UFO spacecrafts people see every day or every once in a while, they're not really aliens. It's the people that control this matrix that have technology from thousands of years ago. Their purpose is to keep people so distracted and so confused that they don't know who to trust. They don't know if these aliens are good or if they're bad. That's their goal. They keep your mind all messed up.
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on there, huh? Yeah, go out and look up, but don't go out and stare at the sun. Come on, you don't need to do that. Take a picture though, that works. Video, stuff like that. Be safe, and let's move on. Now if it's nighttime, you've been warned. The scary and the personal. At home, just where you don't want it to be. Here we go.
When Crystal's alone at home, we can see her scrolling through her phone when out of nowhere, this happens.
What is it? Something peeking in?
Come home. She waits for him to appear. Seconds pass, and no one is seen. Damien isn't there. Understandably, Crystal was shaken up, but it seems that this incident wasn't as scary to Crystal as the most recent occurrence. It's not known this occurred has left the couple no choice but to leave their house. In a recent video, Damien explains the situation.
Yeah. We're just outside because it's getting weird there, and we don't feel safe being in there anymore, so we're just gonna go to just Airbnb for the night, and just for the night, and then we're gonna figure out what to do.
The activity has become so intense that they can no longer live happily inside their house. Sadly, they have no choice but to leave behind their dream home in the hopes that things would settle down. Feeling hopeless, they book an Airbnb and spend the night there. However, the following night, they decide to return home and try something that would hopefully solve their problem. According to them, by doing a seance, they can reach out to the supposed spirit that is haunting their house and ask it to leave. They do just that and record the entire process of the seance. Little did they know, this would be a bad idea. This is their video.
Ask it to leave? I think you need to tell it to leave.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
Good? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the shower door begins to shake on its own. With this, the couple rushes out of the bathroom, understanding that something had gone wrong with the seance. Terrified by the incident, they leave the house and return to the Airbnb. To the couple, the safest plan for now is to stay away from home. Given what's happened, this is probably a better idea. But until they come up with another solution, their house remains abandoned. So then, with all that's happened, just what exactly is going on inside their house? Until any updates are given, it seems that this question will have no definitive answer. And as always, what's your stance on this? Paranormal or not? You be the judge.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy, huh? Not something you want to have in your house, especially if it's new. And if you don't see or hear about any updates, you know you'll see a different video of another family having some strange stuff going on, and you'll say, hey, I recognize that kitchen. That looks familiar. And then you know. Here we go. Let's move on. This is getting good. What's up next?
It didn't fly, it levitated. And this was, he'd put this bug into a little vial or something, and he saw this vial jumping up off the lab table, jumping up and down. And of course, this is patently impossible based on any type of normal physics. So he got into this, and he found out that the bug wings themselves were creating an anti-gravity phenomena under certain conditions. And of course, what we have here, if you analyze, I think I found the bug. It's actually a beetle. And if you analyze this bug structure, you see a hexagonal pyramid structure array throughout the entire bottom wing of this bug. Turns out that beetles have two wings. The top wing is called a wing cover, and it lifts this wing cover up, and then it flips out its lower wings, or inner wings. Now, the bug cover protects the inner wings, but when it gets excited or something, it flips these other wings out, and it flaps these other wings, and the inner wings flap a little, and this beetle goes gyrating around. They can't fly very good, but they sure levitate great, I guess. And anyway, he took a whole bunch of these bug wings, and he glued them to like a Venetia blind structure, and he put it into the form he built. So they were all, these bug wings were all covered in here. And he used I theorized he used the wing covers as well as the inner wing itself. There's also a kind of a handlebar on this thing with some controls. You can see the thing a little better here in detail. The controls, I think, had to be manipulated continuously and probably vibrated to create the same action that the bug was doing. There was also down at the base some kind of a lever, which I suspect controlled the amount of lift he was getting out of this thing. Anyway, Grebennikov claimed that he could fly this thing or levitate it, and it would go around at almost 1,000 miles an hour.
What?
Ask how, well, he said that there was an energy field that built up around this thing due to this gravity field building up in the platform, and by this thing building up, it built out a force field that basically surrounded him and protected him from the local environment. So even though he was flying at 1,000 miles an hour, you could go, you could be wearing your Sunday best suit and not get it flutter a bit at 1,000 miles an hour. I'm not sure I'd want to stand on something going 1,000 miles an hour that's 2 feet square. But this picture here shows him standing on the ground, and these pictures are much better if you get on the KeelyNet site. This is the platform with him on it about 3 to 6 feet above the ground, because here's the shadow here down below. Now you could say this is all faked, but if you things he did with shape, they almost mirror the stuff that I discovered, and it proves, I guess, that there's either two crazy people in the world, or there's two people that have found the same discoveries. So I think that this is a valid phenomenon, and I'll show you why.
Yeah, I want one.
Next slide is a micrograph that I took of a beetle inner wing. This is at 100x. If you look closely at this thing, you can see rows of bumps all along the bottom of this wing, each row is staggered from the next row next to it, and this is all over the surface of the bottom of the wing. Now, I don't know of any aerodynamic surface that has bumps all over the bottom to help it fly better. If you blow this up to 430x, you can start to see some of this microstructure of the cells that form where these bumps are. The next slide, at 970x, you start to see what these bumps that stick up are. They're hairs, look like hairs or fibers that grow out of the center of these hexagonal cells. And of course, this harkens back to my basic shape power discovery, is that each one of these, because of their shape going down to a point, is creating a magnetic field. And remember, a magnetic field is a rotating piece of vortex in the ether.
Now that is pretty cool, isn't it? But I think somebody's probably using that technology today. You've seen some videos, you heard the pilots say they see stuff like that. That little craft he was standing on, a little bit better, a little bit more sturdy, but real high up in the air, going pretty quick. Looks like a person on it. Maybe it's the same technology. You never know. What do you think? Let me know. That was cool. That's for sure. If they're out there, I want one.
I grew up, I had access to an 80,000 volume library, and I read from that library extensively about religion, all the religions of the world.
The day we moved into the house was very chaotic. We were trying to move out the previous owner while we were trying to move in a family of 7. So it was chaotic. And I came running through from the kitchen to the front hallway and into what became our dining room, and there was this man standing there. And as children do, I was just like, okay, you know, it's somebody, and I ran off to play.
The house was straight out of the 30s or 40s. It had linoleum on the floor. There was no modern conveniences. The house was 110 feet long. And just walking back and forth, walking the length of the house, unpacking and getting the children set. My muscles of my left to hurt, and that was the beginning of the pain.
Strained my mother's energy so severely that she would sleep in bed for like 2 years. She could hardly get out of bed. Because it caused her so much depression, too. Fear for her children, fear for us.
I met one of the neighbors, and she said to me, Kenyans lived here. They left the lights burning in the house all the time, all day long, all night long. And I thought that was kind of strange. But that was clarified for us by Mr. Kenyon. He said, for the sake of the children, you should leave lights on at night.
Yeah, you hear that, you want to pack your stuff and get out. Yeah, but there's more. Oh my, there sure is. You knew there would be. Here goes.
It was haunted. All I had to do was walk in it. We just had to find the source.
My mother did an inordinate amount of historical research on the house. And the reason that she did was not only was she fascinated with the fact that we were living in a 1736 house, but she also knew by the time that we started to see multiple spirits in the house, she wanted to know who it was. And that's when we learned about Bathsheba.
We wanted to get deeper into this place, yes. We definitely, we went up there so many times to try to find the hill, to really try to find for them. But it was very sad.
I told her about some of the things that had happened. I woke to the smell of smoke in my bedroom. And then there was this is when she put the curse on me. What she said at the last of it is, next time we meet, ye two be dead.
The spirit that was most threatening to her liked to manifest with fire.
In that house, we had much happiness and many happy times together, but we had horrible things happen too. Logic tells you that something that is immaterial, that is a shadow, that's a mist, that's a wind that passes by you and lifts your hair, cannot really hurt you. I still feel threatened. I feel threatened.
Wow, huh?
I don't know that I'll even be willing to see the film. In fact, I doubt very much that I will be willing to see the film for the same reason I'm unwilling to ever go back to the house, especially to ever go inside the house. I never would.
Oh, man, that was heavy duty. But she already was told when she was cursed that next time we meet, you'll be dead. And we're out of here. What do you think? That was good, huh? If you made it this far, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and you'll be right back at the beginning with me of the next one. Have a great day. Bye.